Hi there, this is Sheena Rowlands and today I'm designing for Scrap Academy. Today I want to show you how to use ink blending foam in a different way. This is a waxed palette that I'm going to use and I've popped some paint on it. The foam pad on the end of the wooden handle takes a bit of water to actually make the paint blend, but as you can see, once I put it on the cardstock, it moves into a really smooth way. As you can guess, I'm creating a rainbow here using 3 colours. Whilst the paint is wet on the foam, I found it very easy to wash it out completely to be able to use them again. So you're not wasting your foam if you're using them to try this technique. And this is the third stripe of my rainbow. As you can see, the smooth paint goes on so smoothly, much better than with a brush. I've left those to dry and I've sewn round the edges and I've cut them out. Here I'm just deciding how I'd like to place them on the Heidi Swapp Storyline Sunnyside paper. That's the idea of where I got my colours from for the original rainbow. So obviously there's a cloud at the end of every rainbow, so I've cut this is at the moment, this is a template just to hold my photograph while I look through the Heidi Swapp ephemera to decide what I'd like to go under this photo. This photo is very special to me. It was taken 18 years ago and it holds some really fond memories. I had to print it in black and white because in those days I wasn't a scrapbooker and the children are wearing all sorts of bright colours, particularly my boys. But that's the way that the clothes were at the time. Anyway, back to the layout. I'm just having a good look through the ephemera, seeing what goes with the colourways that I've picked and having a think about where I want to place things. It's a really mixed bag of bits in this set and quite a lot of a craft tone as well, which I don't want to use on this page, so as you can see I keep putting them aside. It's always worth having a good look, having a play, laying things out. You never quite know until you actually lay things on a page, I find. I love this set by Amy Tan, these puffy stickers, but they're just a bit big. That heart might get in the end, but I do love the paper that it's laid on, so I think I might be using that background card as we move forward. Just showing you some embossing folders. I'd like to make the cloud out of embossed paper, so I've run some through my Sizzix off camera and I've got that aside. So here I go again, I'm just laying things out. I'm going to put some foam pads on the back of the rainbow just to raise it up, because for me that's the main feature of this page. Using the template, I'm going to draw out a cloud and cut that out so that it's nice and bobbly. I haven't used my embossing folders for ages. I don't know whether you have any, but they're certainly worth looking back on. I'm now going to attach that to the layout with foam pads too. It'll make an ideal mount for my photograph. This paper's from Webster's. The name escapes me at the moment, but I thought it was a lovely peachy colour just to go behind my photo before adding that to the frames and the Amy Tan packaging. As I emboss the edges of the rainbow, I'm going to emboss the edges of the cardstock bits as well, just so that they're all very similar. And I'm just going to stick all these layers together behind my photograph. I'm using double-sided tape. It's not ideal. I find as a left-hander I really struggle with tape runners. If you have any advice or anything you'd recommend, I'd love to hear from you. Because it's agony taking the tape off the roll, sticking it on the back of something. I'd love something quicker to use, but I've still not found something that suits me. So now that I've got my photo layered up, I think about that I'd like to put some journaling behind it. So more of the Heidi Swapp. I've picked the piece that says who, what, where, when, and I want that to go behind my photograph. But because I've got all sorts of odd bits and pieces and it's sitting on a cloud, I'm going to make a pocket for that in a moment. So I'm just laying on some more bits just so I can just familiarise myself with what I want. So these also say who, where, when. They match the colours beautifully, and I add a touch of gold as well. So I think they'll be staying. The clouds at the top have just been die cut out of a bit more white card, and I'm just going to add those on foam just to carry on the theme. So my titles come from the embellishment set. There is sunshine in my soul. Sorry. And by the way, I'm looking at my children in this photo. That's exactly how I felt. So I'm just sorting out the cluster, but first I'm going to make a pocket to put my journaling in. So this is just a piece of scrap card that I'm sticking to the back to hold the tag. It's not as long as the photo layer. It doesn't need to be because the tag isn't, but that'll be a good enough pocket to pop that in. I've used a punch just to make a tab to make it easier to remove, so that I remember in the future that it's there, so I can actually read what I've written. And I'm quite impressed. By the time I've finished the layout, I've actually done the journaling as well. So I'm going to pop this on the cloud. And start to finish off. I use lots of foam pads. I've got 2 different sizes on my desk. The ones with the bright yellow on the left are a bit thicker, and I've got some that have got a white back. They come off a reel. They're slightly thinner, so I do use the 2 types. I also cut them up to go behind different shapes, so there's lots of little bits and pieces all over the desk and the floor sometimes while I'm doing this. So finally get this title into position. I've just added it to 2 journaling spots. One's got gold around just to keep that gold theme going, with a little rainbow and the sunshine. The clouds finally get stuck down, 2 of them on foam again, just to add a little bit of dimension up in that corner. Now this is my box of acrylic shapes, small ones I should say. There's a mix, there's L Studio and Colourcast and definitely Bramble Fox. So I'm just going through and I'm picking out the stars that I fancy. I know you don't get stars and rainbows, but I'm kind of going with sky. It doesn't really matter, does it? But I picked out ones that go colour-wise, pinks and whites and a cream, and I think they'll be perfect just to keep the focus around the photograph. I don't know how you stick your acrylic shapes down. I tend to use a bit of red tape on the back. So here's some close-ups. There's the journaling tag. There's the stitching on the cloud and the rainbow. And here's a full image of the layout. I hope you enjoyed watching this. I look forward to sharing a video with you soon.